This video is about how to crochet clothing that not only fits your vision but also fits your body. Hi, I'm Valeria and this is Crochet Basics. In this video I'm going to take you through all the steps I always pass when I am crocheting clothing for myself or for my husband. Before we jump into technicality, what I always like to do is to envision my final garment. It helps me understand how I want it to fit on my body, what type of yarn I want to choose, the tension that I want to choose for my final garment. I used to imagine it, I used to envision it in my head, and then I passed into making sketch on my body silhouette. It also helps me to pick up some kind of colors, maybe to challenge myself for something new, or to know that I want to stick for what I like. If you are interested and how to make a sketch for yourself, for your own silhouette, for your body silhouette, you can check out my book called Age Wardrobe. I will leave the link down below. Now let's jump into technicality. So the first step was envisioning your garment. It doesn't matter how you do it, if it is in your head or you're making a sketch. This will help you to see what you're going for. So in the first video I talked to you about how to choose your best crochet hooks for crocheting clothing. Now you have crochet hooks from the same brand, the same line. If you wonder why I'm saying that and how to choose the best crochet hook, you can check the video down below. I will remind you one very important thing from this video is the crochet hook will not change the quality of your crochet garment, but it will change your comfortability. And if your comfortability is affected, your final garment, the quality of your final garment can also get affected by that. So in this step, I recommend you to be as selfish as you can and think about how comfortable you are while you're crocheting. So now that you have your comfortable crochet hooks, you choose the yarn for your crochet clothing. There is also extra blog post on my blog about the color of the yarn, some kind of warning about possible bleeding or something, so check it out. The links will be also down below. Now that you have your crochet hooks and your yarn for your crochet clothing, now it is the time to match the best crochet hook number with your yarn. When I was starting out to crochet, I figured out that the best way for me is to choose 3 crochet hooks and make 3 samples. How to choose them, you can also check in the video I published earlier about how to match your crochet hook with your yarn, and the link is down below. When you're starting out to crochet, you might not have the exact vision how certain yarn can behave and what kind of drape certain patterns, certain crochet patterns can provide you. So these 3 crochet hooks which I choose is one which will match my yarn perfectly, then one which is a little bit bigger, and one which is a little bit smaller. The bigger crochet hook will let me understand if I want my sample to be more drapey, and the smaller crochet hook will help me understand if the yarn is behaving well after it is washed, dried and steamed. Maybe if it is a square, I want it to be tighter so it can maintain its shape better. So I will go with the crochet hook which is a little bit smaller than the perfect one. So now, when I have more experience, I usually make one sample and I choose one crochet hook because I already understand more or less how my crochet pattern will behave, how my yarn will behave after washing, drying and steaming, and I have a better idea of how I want it to look in my final garment. But if you're starting out, the best thing, and it will also give you the best understanding, it's like the fast learn process if you're making 3 samples. So now what you want to do is to measure yourself. For this part I have prepared the free PDF. You can find it in my shop, the link is down below. It will take you through all the steps. It is an interactive PDF where you can put and change your data there. It also gives you what measurements of your body you need to take for different crochet garments. It is general, sometimes it changes. You need to be observant, but as general as it can get, you get a lot of information in this free PDF. Let's make an example here. How do you measure your body? If you want to make a skirt, what do you want to measure? You want to know your circumference of your hips, so your skirt can fit your hip. You want to know how long your skirt is, and you want also to measure if it is maxi skirt or midi skirt, you want to know the lower part of your skirt, how wide it will be, so you will be comfortably walking all the time in this skirt. It is just an example, and check out this PDF so you have the bigger and better idea of what to measure for any crochet garment you're making. So now that you have crocheted your sample, what do you do next? Is to wash, dry and steam your sample. In the previous video I already talked about this, and I took you through the exact steps that I take and that I recommend you to take when you wash, dry and steam your sample. So now that you have chosen your washing style, you dried and you steamed your sample, what is next is to measure your sample. When you're crocheting your sample, the best is to crochet 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters, so you can measure 10 centimeters inside this 12 and 10 centimeters also vertically. In the width, you are counting number of stitches or number of stitch repetitions, stitch patterns. This number will help you to measure for your circumference of your body. And in the length, vertically, you are counting how many rows there are in 10 centimeters. This will give you idea how to calculate the length of your final garment. If you are crocheting squares or rounds, if they are big enough, you can just make one, or if they are smaller ones, make 2 or 4, so it can give you the better idea of how to measure that. Saying this, I need to recognize that it's not that I always make this 12 by 12 or something like that. Sometimes I make that just tiny small crochet samples because, well, the confession is I don't like waste my yarn on crocheting samples, and I also find it a little bit boring. I just want to jump directly in crocheting my garment, my final garment, that I find this part is a little bit like, I'm not so excited about that, but I always make crochet sample, even if that tiny ones. If you're a beginner, I recommend you to crochet 12 by 12 because it will give you like a faster speed learning process of the drape of the crochet hook there, the drape of the pattern. It will give you a better idea, and it's like it really teaches you very fast of understanding how the yarn behaves in different patterns and how you want it to look in your final garment. Later on, with a little bit of experience, if you are passing all the steps, you can make tiny crochet samples, and it will take you through as well to the best fit of your final garment. You measured yourself and you have measurements of your crochet sample. What do you do next? If you are crocheting a crochet pattern which you bought and you have a description, these measurements will help you understand what size you need to crochet, and it also can help you make any kind of alterations in the length or width for which the pattern is not accounted for. For example, if the pattern you are crocheting has short sleeves and you want to make it longer, you know how many rows you need to add according to your measurements and your calculations. So the next step is you start crocheting your clothing. If it is not a mini skirt or small top, I recommend you kind of breaking it in 2 or even 3 parts. Why we are doing this? You start crocheting and you crochet some kind of piece. This piece, I want you to wash it the same way you washed your crochet sample, dry it vertically as I explained in the video, the link is down below, and steam it the same way you steamed your crochet sample. What it will give you? It will give you the understanding how the yarn behaves under its own weight. If it is a maxi skirt, you can even break it in 4 parts, or if it is a very long and kind of big dress with a lot of details, if you can see that physically the weight of the lower part of your garment is very heavy, it will stretch whatever is above. So what we want is to account for that. If it is, let's say, a midi skirt, and we will break it into parts. You wash your first part, dry it, steam it, and you measure. First, what do? You measure your width, how many stitches or stitch repetitions or pattern repetitions there are in 10 centimeters, and you measure your length, how many rows there are in these 10 centimeters. You compare it with measurements you took from your crochet sample. If the measurements are different, it will let you know if you need to add more rows so it is longer, or you need to reduce the rows because it's stretched too much. Usually, we cannot account this 100% just crocheting the sample. There are too many yarns which behave completely different, and too many fibers, combination of fibers, which can also make your yarn completely behave differently. But following the steps, it will give you full control, or as much as control as possibly you can have over your crocheted garment. If it is a very long skirt or very long dress and you separated it in 3 parts in the length, you finish measuring your first part, you keep crocheting. When the second part arrives, you also wash it the same way you wash the sample, dry it vertically, steam it, and again take some kind of measurements, as I explained, the width, the length of your stitches and of your rows. Compare it, and it will again give you understanding if with more weight this thing is stretching out. So when you finish completely your garment, some clothing can call you to add elastic or to sew in lining or maybe add buttons. Before you proceed into that, wash it, dry it vertically and steam it. Wash it in the same way you washed your sample, then dry it vertically and steam it. Only then add your buttons and other stuff if it is necessary according to your vision of your crochet clothing. Why do we do this? Is to give the final steam, the final look for the stitches, for the pattern to be as it's supposed to be. So does it mean every time you need to steam it as crazy? It's not like that. When you start wearing your garment and when you decide it's time to wash it again in the same way, you dry it again vertically, and then you decide if you need to steam it or not. There are some clothing which I don't steam at all after my final steam. After I wash it and dry it vertically, I do not need to steam it. The stitches look perfect, the pattern is stretched, is nice and shiny and perfect by itself. But there are also crochet clothing which I have that I need to steam every time after I wash it and dry it. It mostly depends on the yarn, on the type of the yarn, and on the pattern which is in this crochet clothing. Some patterns they just need stretching, and some patterns they play the way they are. So keep experimenting and check by yourself. Do you feel like you need to steam it, or it is fine for you? Experimenting will help you have more vision, and with practicing you will know for sure what to go for and what you like in your crochet clothing and how you want it to fit your body. If for your final vision you feel like instead of having it in your head, you want to have a sketch for your body silhouette, you can check out my H wardrobe book. I will leave the link down below. It will help you organize your ideas about your handmade clothing, what you want to make for yourself and how you want it to fit your body. It is dedicated for crocheters, knitters and sewers. And also don't forget to check out and download my free PDF for what to measure and for all the steps. The PDF is interactive and you can put your data and it can help you with any crochet project you are up to. So thank you so much for watching, and if there are any questions, leave them down below. Happy crocheting! Bye!